Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us tonight. We're waiting while people in the waiting room are added into the meeting. So give us another minute or two. Hi, everyone. My name's Chuck Myers. I'm with the Piscataway Soccer Club, along with a bunch of other people who are helping on our board who are with us tonight. We're going to be running a meeting specifically for travel parents. So if you are not a travel parent, you are welcome to stay, but some of this information may not apply to you if you're a rec parent. We will be having a rec parent presentation Zoom meeting in a couple of weeks, and email will go out for that. So we're going to get started tonight. We're going to with our Red Bull partners, and we're going to start with Jack, who's going to give us an overview, and then after he's done, then we'll come back and we'll give you some specific information for the club and getting ready for this spring. So take it away, Jack.
Thank you, Chuck. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jack Bradshaw. I am a coach education manager for Red Bull. My primary responsibility is coach development. So you may see me at the field this season. I support coaches on field in South Central, North and Northwest New Jersey. And I also run our education meetings and help out with recruitment as well. The aim of this evening is to just give you a bit of a background of what we do, maybe understand some of the things that will happen on the field when your child is at a Red Bull practice. And hopefully there's some things that you can take away that might help in delivering the experience for them. Okay. Dan, are you able to see my screen just before? Just a good old screen test.
You are all set.
Okay, we'll begin just by giving you a brief overview of our pyramid. Youth programs operate at level 6 and level 5 of the pyramid, and it ranges from camps and clinics, coach education, club development, and various outreach programs. At this level on the pyramid, we work with around 46,000 players. As you move up the pyramid, our regional development schools is the next step in a player's pathway and involves more technical and personalized training in and out of their to support their club training. So, for example, you could still play for Piscataway, but do winter clinics with the RDS, and that serves around 6,000 players. We then have our pre-academy. Currently, it's only available to boys, and the main reason that is that Red Bull doesn't have a women's team, so there is no pathway as of yet. But fingers crossed, one day down the line, that would occur. The boys pre-academy is also cost-free. So not only is the academy cost-free now, but boys U10 and U11 is a cost-free program. And then just the higher the pyramid you go, the second team. Hopefully some people got to watch the first team yesterday and a 0-0 tie against Nashville, but some encouraging things that should be a really good season to get ahead. So as we get into it, the red print can be found on newyorkrebels.com/redprint. It's a resource that you can use, and there are lots of think pieces and ideas on there that can translate for teams that you coach. And that's where it is. Tonight, we will just touch on approach to development, player development and winning, and then some things centered around game day. This is our philosophy: create a fun and challenging environment where players have the opportunity to learn. We look to shine the light on challenge so that it brings out fun, and if fun is occurring, then we hope that learning will take place as well. So that's the philosophy that our coaches live by when delivering sessions on the field. These are our building blocks to player development. So motor skill development is just soccer related movement, sprinting, jumping, turning. Technique and skill development is the application of a technique, so of passing a ball with the inside part of the foot, striking a ball with the laces. That's technique and skill development. Individual tactic, that's the player that is on the soccer ball in 1v1 situations, and it's about their decision making. And then a group tactic is simply put, is the player that's on the ball, the player that's next to the ball, and the player that's around the ball. So that's a group tactic, so a combination of players. And then finally, a team tactic is a combination of units. So how we defend as a team, how we attack as a team, that would be a team tactic. Now, technique and skill development and motor skill development should exist in every session, irrespective of the age. They should always be incorporated. The stages of development vary based on the age and the stage of the player. So their soccer playing ability, their current biological age, these things are sprinkled in with that. So for example, if you're a U6 player, individual tactics is probably going to be the main focus of your session. There will be elements of team tactics, but that is as players grow older. Methodology is simple to complex. So it involves starting with an introduction, ending with a match, and the challenge placed on players increases as the session evolves. We do it in these three ways. So inspiration, we want players to love the game, to come to practice and say, did you watch Mbappe score this wonderful goal this weekend? Hopefully they come and say that they watched a Red Bull game as well, but we want players to be inspired by the game. From an expertise perspective, it's us providing education to our coaches. They come twice a week and we discuss very varying topics. So session planning, prepping for the season, teaching tools, game models, all sorts of tools that they learn throughout the season that hopefully improve their performance on the field. And then the final piece is repetition. The players getting as many realistic game-like repetitions of something as they can in order to improve that moment. If you happen to be at the field whilst your child is practicing and you're watching, the session structure should flow like this. Topic is introduced, it's just a small part of the session. Everybody has a ball, introduce the theme for the day. The main activity, again, is a continuation focusing on one theme, but now we start to incorporate pressure and repetition. So receiving the ball maybe with a player running towards me and consistently doing that to develop the technique. The condition game is the closest thing to the match, so to the real game of soccer. It's directional, there's goals, there are conditions added. So there could be mini nets, they could be big nets. A condition could be, we have to make 2 passes in this zone before we break out and score at the other end. So conditions that bring out the theme of the practice. The match, the best part of the game, the reason why all players play. These are small-sided games, and the benefits of small-sided are it can increase tactical knowledge, it encourages spacing, it maximizes touches. But within those small-sided games, FIFA rules should also apply. So restarting with a kickoff, taking throw-ins, taking corners, these things should still be a part of it. There is a place to do larger-sided games, but I think if a player maybe touches the ball 2 or 3 times within a game, there's too many players on the field. So small-sided can be a big part of practice, and then maybe at the end of the week we do a larger sided game as well. And then at the end, an important part, the debrief, so a check for understanding. We ask the players if they have fun. We review the theme, maybe pull some information from the map by way of questioning, and tell me, for an example would be, tell me how we were able to receive to turn and play forward. So pulling information from the players and then using our YouTube page or some of our homework sheets, setting a task for players to complete. So development and winning. And I know for any parent coach that is on the call, and we were able to meet last week and we discussed this, we talked about being developmentally orientated over results. And I imagine everybody in this call would wish that their child has the best experience on the field and they just want them to have fun and just experience some things that they're going to use later in life to grow with their experiences. Lots of people say that until they start losing, and then results start to become part of it. So I think the idea is to have a developmentally orientated mindset of, this is where we're at the moment, this is where we want to be in the future, and this is the plan we're going to use to get to that point. Just some game day things. I know our coaches don't spend a large amount of time with the players on game day, but just some things to give you some information about. Player rotations, giving players the chance to play in different positions. And that doesn't mean they play in every single position in the game, but they experience the different moments. So the defensive side and the attacking side, that should be an integral part when rotating players. I think, simply put, don't speak to referees, keep the interactions that are minimal, don't need to comment on any referee decisions. Risk versus reward. This is, if I have the ball and I have a teammate on the other side of the field, but I have to pass through our penalty box, it's risky. But if I make that pass and we switch the field, there's an opportunity to attack and maybe score. So encourage risk taking. And then competition. Not only should practices have competition and be competitive, but the flight that your teams are placed in should also reflect that too. A rule of thumb is, if you are getting smoked every game, you're in the wrong flight. If you're winning every game, you're in the wrong flight. In and around 500 is a good level of competition. And then playing time. At Red Bull, we believe in 50% over the course of the season. And it means giving players the opportunity to play in different moments of the game. So if we're losing 2-0, players should be able to experience trying to chase a game, or if it's the opposite way around, protecting the result. So encouraging them, giving players the opportunity to play in different moments of the game, irrespective of ability. Because if we say, well, I want my best 11 or my best 9 or my best 7 now, the players that we put in boxes that aren't quite there yet will always stay there. So giving them opportunities in those moments. And then for parents, just do what you do best. Cheer and support and encourage the players. I think that's the best way you can have a role on game day. As we finish up, just some off-field things. You will receive in the coming days an introduction email from your coach. Some of it will be a reintroduction because you will have the same coach. After 2 weeks of the season starting, a seasonal development plan will be sent. That's just, as I mentioned before, where we're at the moment. Where do we want to be? The seasonal development plan is the bridge that gets us to that. This question was asked at the meeting last week, and do teams get a weekly team report even if there's no game day or if the hours are minimal? The answer is yes. If you are a travel player, a travel parent, you will receive the weekly email passed on by the parent coach. And then some things for the end of the season. I know we're working with the club in to encourage people to register for player evaluations. It's like a new process for us in how we do it. But I think as the season goes on, we'll be able to send some more information about that and how to register. And then the club report is something more towards the club itself, and it's just a chance for our coaches to provide some feedback to the club. Parent manager is just someone that manages the schedule, provides communication on where you need to be. So if you use Sports Engine or TeamSnap, just adds all those games to that. Maybe arrange travel and responsible for the rosters. And then a parent coach, sometimes the roles merge into one, but typically a parent coach is someone that spends game day on the sideline. And if the Red Bull trainer is the lead voice, they would assist the Red Bull coach. If the Piscataway parent coach is the main voice, it would be a partnership. The aim is to reinforce messages from practice, track, and I think you as parents could do this too in terms of tracking. If we worked on passing during the week, maybe as parents, you bring your notepad, your clicker, your phone, and just write down every time a successful pass is made. You could support that too by tracking. And then the parent coach also leads the warm up and prepares players for the game. So I'm going to unshare the screen. I'm happy to take any questions, and if there's no questions, I can pass back over to Chuck.
If you have any questions, please enter them into the chat. And if you don't ask them now, you can ask them during the rest of the presentation, and we'll get to them at the end.
So homework is not always given. It's an item that is not mandatory for our coaches, but something that we like strongly encourage. I think so. This season, it's definitely something we can push for coaches to send, but wasn't if your coach didn't do it. That's also a possibility as well. The homework is not like an official thing. It's not quite like the relationship is like with a school. It might just be the coach either sends something via TeamSnap or encourages the player to go home and do something in their spare time. I think the question about tryouts will probably be answered in the next bit when Chuck presents. But yeah, I think that's a great question, and I'm sure that information will be provided soon.
Yes.
Chuck, there's a question: is this program related to the Man U travel team as well? I'm
Yes,
not
it
sure if
is.
I understand that.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, let me take over, and we'll start Piscataway presentation. And here we go. Thanks everybody for coming again. My name is Chuck Myers. I'm with the Piscataway Soccer Club, helping to get things going. We have Jack from Red Bulls. We have Dan from Red Bulls. We may have a couple of other Red Bull trainers on. I didn't look through the entire list. And we have some board members on the call. So again, thanks for attending. Let me get to our slides. Spring training. We are hoping to start next week to start with our pro training, training with your Red Bulls trainer, and of course, this is all weather permitting. If we get 60 degrees next week, then we're going to be outside. If we don't have 60 degrees or above 40 degrees, we will tell your coach, who will then relay that to you in TeamSnap, that we will continue to train indoors. So next week there is training. I just don't know exactly where and when it will be for your team. A change is we're not using Witherspoon or Kanakamak. We're resting those grass fields. In the spring, we normally get access to the high school turf. And again, we have that this year. So our pro training, Red Bulls training will be at the high school turf. When you get there, look for your trainer. High school rules. If you've heard this before, you must be one of our older player parents who's been on the team. But if you're new, you can walk the track at the stadium, but you cannot stand on the track and talk to friends. Again, so you can walk the track. The track is open to the public, so besides us, there will be other Piscataway residents who come to use the track. So again, if you would like to stand and talk, please move to the stadium bleachers, and you're welcome to hang out there. There's no coach-led sessions at the high school turf. Those will be held normally at Green Acres or wherever your coach would like to hold them. Such as any Board of Ed property, as long as there's sunlight. So again, next week, we're going to try to start training. Friday keeper and footworks training will not start until April the 5th. And talk to your coach, if that's something that you would like to do, or your coach will be talking to you saying he would like your player to attend one of these 2 training sessions on Friday, which is extra and all good. Some challenges for us this year. Last fall, we started training at 5:45 in order to get additional time into the training sessions. We made the training sessions longer. Going into the spring, we do not have access to the high school stadium until 6 p.m. So it's only 15 minutes, but in building the training schedule, that caused a couple of conflicts. So most everyone has the same trainer at almost the same time, probably 15 minutes later. But just so you know, any changes that happen, we ran into a couple of gotchas, which caused us to rearrange some of the schedule. Also, the high school and the middle school track have track meets, and those are being held at the high school stadium from 4 to 7 p.m. As a result, we're going to move our training on these 6 days. Instead of training at the high school stadium, we will move them to Green Acres, again, because high school track is using the stadium. And your coaches will update the TeamSnap schedule if you have Red Bulls Pro training on Monday or Wednesday of these 6 dates. For when are the first games? Well, it depends on which program you're in. If you're a travel team and you play in mid-New Jersey, then your first game starts on March the 16th or the 17th. That's why we're starting training 2 weeks ahead of that date. If you are one of the teams playing in the Suburban League, then your first game is scheduled for April the 6th, Saturday, or April the 7th. The Futures program, their first scrimmage is going to be on April the 13th, and the first festival will be on April the 20th, those are Saturdays. So again, weather permitting, we're starting practice next week. There are no games on Easter weekend. There will not be any pro training the week after, which is the school spring break. I will say that there are, if you are interested, there's a Red Bulls camp during that week. So if you're interested, look for information about that. There's also no games Memorial Day weekend. This applies to both mid-New Jersey teams, suburban teams, and futures teams. If you happen to have a recreation player or a top soccer player, recreation starts practice on April the 8th, and the first games are the Saturday right after that. The last piece of information is that we are working to have another club night at Red Bull Stadium. If you attended the one we had in the fall, it was great. There's an opportunity to get a free ticket for your Piscataway players and discounted tickets for everybody else in your party. So once we get that date set, we will get information out. And this is going to happen in this spring season. TeamSnap. As you all know, we use TeamSnap for each of our travel teams to help check availability of all the players, and also for the parents to be able to see when's the next practice, when and where, what time, location, and same thing for games. So it's really important that you as parents go into your TeamSnap account for your players and update it to let the coach and the Red Bull trainer know if you're coming or if you're not coming. It makes a big difference. It only takes a couple of seconds to get into the app and check the box, but you need to realize if you were the coach of the team and you saw there's only 3 kids coming to this practice, there's only 1 kid coming to this practice, and on game day we only have 2 players who say that they're coming, how would that make you feel? You might feel something like this. So please realize it's a courtesy to your coach to enter your information. TeamSnap works on all the mobile devices as well as laptop. You can go to teamsnap.com and log in, and you get to your account that way. It shows your level of commitment. Are you there? This is a team sport, and it involves the entire team. It's very helpful to the coach and the trainer to know how many people are coming. If you're sick, that's fine. Say that you're not coming, but it allows the coaching staff to say, "Oh, we can modify our training program to accommodate for we have everybody coming, or we only have half the people coming." It makes a difference. Again, it's essential that you let us know what your availability is. So please do better, and thank you. TeamSnap, last fall, we did a measurement of attendance, and we gave the top 3 teams who had the best attendance a end of season pizza party. And the coaches for Newcastle, Hotspurs, and Juventus have been told that, so they're going to arrange that. We're going to do this contest again this spring. So to help entice you to get into TeamSnap and enter your availability and hopefully come to every single practice and every single game, we're running this contest again. The top 3 teams that have the best attendance percentage will get a pizza party for the end of the season. For just a reminder for parents on game days, please arrive before warm-ups. Don't arrive just for the game, start of the game, or just 5 minutes after the game. Please get there for warm-ups. It's important for your player to go through the warm-up. It's also important for the coach to know that how many players are going to be there. Make sure that you bring all the necessary information, all the necessary gear, both jerseys, cleats, water. On game day, give your player a healthy pregame meal, and realize that it's the player's game. It's not our game as adults, it's their game. So let them enjoy it. Let them play it, let them enjoy it. This season, players and parents are going to be sitting on opposite sides, so of the field. So feel free to sit on the same right across from your team. Again, as we've continued to say, please don't say anything to the referees, no yelling, and please don't try to coach your child from the sideline. That only leads to confusion of your player when you tell them to do something, but the coach is actually trying to get them to do something else, and they are caught in an emotional dilemma. Who do they try to please? And usually it's not going to be the coach. So then the coach gets frustrated and the team dynamics break down when the player is not trying to do what the coach is asking them to do. And just a reminder, New Jersey Youth Soccer and all of the clubs underneath, which includes ours, we have joined the Do Not Coach from the Sidelines campaign. I'll send this presentation out, or I'll make it available. This is the link. You can click on it and you can see this campaign. It's a small video. It's cute. If you have a child who's 12 years old or older and is interested in becoming one of our recreation referees, please contact Brian Hines. Here's his email address. We give cash money to those who come out on Saturday mornings and help us run the recreation games. And even though we haven't started spring season, we are already working on getting ready for tryouts. So this year, tryouts is going to be different. Last year, it was everybody shows up on a Saturday at different times in mass. And for an hour, we have trainers who may not know your child at all, try to look at your child within the span of an hour and see how they compared with everybody else who happened to be able to make it on that day. Instead, this year, tryouts is going to span over 2 weeks. This is the week of May 6th and the week of May 13th. And they are going to be scheduled to take place on your normal Red Bulls Pro Training sessions. So if you happen to be training on Mondays at 6 o'clock, then that's exactly when tryouts for your player is going to happen. You will get an email with the details, but remember, when we open up registration, which will be the entire month of April, you must register for tryouts so that we know that you're interested in playing with us in the fall. All right. So mark your calendars, the week of May 6th and the week of May 13th. That's when we're running tryouts. I just want to thank our Red Bulls youth partners. We joined with them last summer, and things are running very well from my perspective. So we really enjoy our partnership so far, and we look to many, many, many seasons partnering with them to come. And with that, thank you. And in the famous words of Coach Beard, let's go. Getting ready for the season. Again, if you have questions in the chat, let me know what, feel free to type them in, and we will try to answer them right now. Any questions? Skimming through, I don't see.
Is there a tryout for travel? I'm not sure if this was covered.
There is a tryout for travel for the next fall. It will happen for 2 weeks, the week of May 6th and the week of May 13th. And the time will be the exact same time and day of your Red Bulls Pro Training session. So again, if your Red Bulls practice session is on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, then that's when that's the part of the tryout.
If it's a new player, then they have to register.
So this is what I said was for existing players. So if there are any new players, example coming from recreation, they will have to, everybody has to register for tryouts. If we see that there are new players from, example, recreation or from out of town, we will contact them and we will let them know the time and date that the training session that they need to attend. So all of that will be handled, but again, initially, everybody needs to register so that we know that you are interested in trying out.
Chuck, can I jump in real quick?
Please do.
Hi, everybody. Jeff Slindeloff, co-travel VP with Jeff Sias is also on, I see. I just want to elaborate a little more on tryouts. Again, it's going to be different than what you're normally used to if you've been in the club for a while. Like Chuck said, it's not going to be one day. Some of you may not, notice or think you're in an official tryout at all. Your child is going to be evaluated at every training session during the season if you're currently on a travel team. So the trainers are going to know them, quite well by the end of the season and know exactly where they need to be for their developmental purposes. Again, we're going to send out a lot more information as we go along, since this is a new process to all the parents and to us as well. So the Red Bulls are great partners for us, and they're going to, guide us through this process. But we're hoping it's pretty seamless. But it's very important, I just want to hammer on this a little bit, that you register for tryouts when we open the registration if you intend to play next year. If you don't register, we assume that you're not coming back. And the reason we assume that is because we send the invitations out through the registration system. So once we complete the tryouts, we evaluate all the players, we decide what the teams are going to be, we send those invites out through the registration system. So if you're not in the system, we cannot send you an invitation to a team. And again, we can't chase, 50 players that haven't registered for tryouts. Again, we'll update the coaches as registration goes along and just say, hey, Timmy, Johnny, and Timmy haven't registered yet, or whoever it may be. But once we get to that stage of tryouts, when it's that 2-week period, we need to know exactly who needs to be evaluated so we can figure out what the teams are going to look like for next year. So just wanted to hammer on that a little bit more. And any questions, you can always email us. We're always available. We usually get back to you pretty quick. But again, look forward to more information coming out on that throughout the beginning of the season. Thanks.
Last call for questions in the chat. Thanks for all the kind comments. In the chat, there's a question, is there a chance our team could change? Well, that's the hope, that's the purpose for tryouts. In youth soccer, the teams are created for the fall and spring, and then there is the opportunity at the end of that, at the end of the spring, to recreate the team. And this is to allow for maybe a player left town, and so now there's an opening on the team. Maybe there's a player on the team on another team in the same age group where the player has excelled over the course of the year, and they need to change teams. And we look at that as a positive thing because our main focus is player development. So if there's a player on rec who wasn't very skilled a year ago, but it now has been working really hard in the backyard and they're really good, it's now time for them to move to a travel team. And same thing. Maybe there's a kid on a travel team who's been working really hard, and now they need to be promoted to the next team. So that's the purpose of tryouts. But for the most part, teams tend to stay 80% the same players.
Chuck, can I just follow on one quick point on that?
Yes.
Just one thing to keep in mind, every 2 years, the playing size changes. So for U10 and under, it's 7v7, so 7 players on the field. Then once you get to U11, U12, it's 9v9. So you're adding 2 more players to the field. And then you get to U13 and up, and it's 11v11, which everybody knows is, regular, big time Red Bulls main team soccer. So every 2 years, if you have 3 teams in an age group for 7v7, when you're going from U10 to U11, now you're transitioning into that next age level where you need more players for a team. More than likely those 3 teams become 2 teams. So I know when you say, is the team going to change? Yes, and more so if you're going to a new playing size. So if you're currently in U10, that means next year you'll be U11. That means you're going to be moving up to 9v9. So I would expect more changes at that level. And then same thing, if you're U12 now and you're moving to U13 next year, you're going to move to 11v11. You're going to be, seeing more changes to the roster. I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. If that's not clear, again, you can always email us and ask. But that's one of the reasons why you'll see roster changes for teams is when we have to consolidate 3 teams into 2 or 2 teams into 1 when we're changing the playing size.
Link. There was a question about the uniforms, ordering uniforms. The link is on our website. If you go under travel on the right-hand side, there is a how to order the uniform process. Otherwise, send us an email under info and we'll send you the link. Somebody asked about the spring season end. Is the week of June 10th is the last week, having the following week as a makeup week.
Yeah, well, the Mid-New Jersey scheduled makeup week is June the 6th and June the 8th. June the 8th, June the 9th, that weekend. For recreation, we actually have a makeup week built into the schedule, and that will be June the 15th and June the 16th. But and the Suburban League, depending upon your age group, there are different end dates based on what age group your team is in. So hard to answer that question.
There's a question about discount for 2 players in the same family. The answer is yes. That is automatically handled. When you register both your children, you'll get a discount for your second, third, fourth.
Volunteering opportunity for your player, reach out to your coach. There's maybe a position on the coaching staff for your team that your coach needs you. Like if I'm a coach and I have nobody helping me or nobody else on the coaching staff, then I would love to have a parent helping me minimally, helping me with as a team manager or an assistant coach. But reach out to your coach first, and then the coach can reach back to us, and then we can tell you if you wanted to be a coach. There are state requirements. You have to take a couple of classes. So it depends on how you want to volunteer.
I believe the question also had to deal with volunteering for the player itself. I'm assuming that may be, for high school, for some club or whatever you're looking for, community service volunteering. Yes, access your coach. We could have, we could have your child help us with line painting or giving out shirts when rec starts or stuff like that. So yes, there is opportunity for it. Reach out to your coach or send us an email under info@piscataway.com.
And a question about getting their player on a specific team. That's part of the tryout process. And as Jeff mentioned, when teams continue to age, they grow, roster size gets bigger.
Jasmine just chimed in. Another opportunity for a player to help or volunteer is to help us with our top soccer program. Our top soccer program is for children with special needs. We run that.
You can register and to become a buddy.
Lots of information on our website, piscatawaysoccer.org. You can go under the different programs. You can look under travel. It will be updated soon for spring. We're right 2/3 of the way in our winter program, so it's focusing on that. But in a few weeks, you'll start seeing a lot more information about spring, and even more important, you'll see a lot more information about trying out for the fall.
Last chance for questions on the chat.
All right. Remember, use your TeamSnap. Maximize the availability of it, the effectiveness of it, how quickly you can get an answer from your coach, from another team member, from another parent within the team. It's a great tool, and it brings teams together and makes things a lot easier for everybody.
Mike, any last words? Dan, any last words?
I just want to thank everyone for coming to tonight's meeting. Again, I want to reiterate that our website has tons of information on it. Our webmaster, Jimmy Opus, does a fantastic job keeping it up to date. If there's anything on there that is incorrect or we have a broken link, please let us know. Again, direct all the emails to info@piscatawaysoccer.org. If you can't find an answer to your question there, we're more than happy to answer your email. again, just send it to info@piscatawaysoccer.org. And I hope everybody has a great season. I'm looking forward to being out in the warm weather like everybody else.
And thanks to everybody for Chuck on the board, putting in all the time, the coaches for putting all the time that you do to make sure that the club runs really smoothly. For parents who don't get a peek behind the curtain, there are a lot of people doing a lot of things to make sure your kids have a really good experience. So the Piscataway Soccer Club is a really good place for them to be.
Thanks, Dan. I owe you that 20.
Thanks, everyone.